The First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, put a whole lot of gasoline on the fire. Right here, this headline. Jill Biden wants champions LSU in Iowa at the White House. See, the problem with that, because you might be saying TNT, what's the problem with that? The problem is that the winner usually goes to the White House and the winner alone. But why is it that because LSU has won, which is a predominantly black woman team, and Iowa lost, predominantly a white woman's team, now all of a sudden LSU has to share the spotlight with Iowa? The First Lady walked right into that. And in her remarks at Colorado State Capitol, the First Lady said the following: I know we'll have the champions come to the White House. We always do. So we hope LSU will come. But I'm gonna tell Joe, I think Iowa should come too, because they played such a good game. Oh, I sighed deeply. And as expected, Twitter and other social media spaces went ham. Here is Angel's take on this, the most important take of them all, because it is her joke. She is saying this has got to be a joke, because how would you feel if the tradition was one way, and because you and your team won, now all of a sudden the tradition is going to change? And I'm definitely with Angel on this. What a joke. And since when are we inviting the losers? When are they invited to join the winners? It's not until a black people dominate, and that's when the goalpost is moved. Take a look at this next tweet. Miss Green lays it out this way. This reminds me of those high schools where as soon as the valedictorian is a person of color or a woman, they break with tradition and decide to have co-valedictorians for the first time in the school's history. Please don't do this. Yep, Miss Green got that exactly right. Or this comment from Keith Boykins. Keith tweets, no ma'am. When black women win a national championship, they should not be forced to share the stage with the losing team. Black women are the most loyal constituency of the Democratic Party. The White House needs to walk this back as soon as possible. Amen to that, Mr. Keith Boykins. And then my stunt double had to say something too. If Iowa had won, she asked this question, will LSU be invited? We all know what the answer is. It's no. But then the mic drop came from this particular tweet right here. America is trying to treat Iowa like it treated the Confederacy. Go ahead on Anthony V. Clark. You did that. This is a perfect reply, perfect analogy to what my stunt double had to say. America is trying to treat Iowa like it treated the Confederacy. And then comes the mic drop right here from Domo. White people are obsessed with forcing black people to win in silence because they think we should be thankful they allowed us to be there in the first place. True that. And then Dario Morrow tweeted the following. Has an article right now that I invite everybody to come and read on Newsweek. Written in news for Newsweek. Dr. Biden's stupid comment is a symptom of a larger problem. Black Americans are taken for granted by the very people we put in power because they don't fear any political consequences. My latest at Newsweek opinion. So that's it right there. That is the political basis and wraparound for what is happening today, that certainly the Democrats fear no consequences whatsoever. That is why President Joe Biden felt very comfortable when he was being interviewed by Charlemagne during the 2020 presidential election cycle to say to Charlemagne on that show, if you don't know whether you're for me or Trump, you ain't black. What Dr. Jill Biden has done is very much similar to that. No regard for how black people feel, and really no grasp of the history at all. So in summation, this right here, I know I said the other ones were mic drops, but this one right here is gonna seal this up just a bit. Joe, get your wife. Absolutely that. I don't know if the vice president is on the phone doing that, but I hope that she is. Bennie, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, really, this just goes back to what I said earlier about like the default perspective and how white folks are privileged as the default perspective, and everybody is expected to, like take on the assumptions perspective of privileged people. But anytime anybody from any marginalized community has any different perspective, then all of a sudden becomes impossible to understand. When really stuff like this is just super obvious. I mean, because like Joe Biden said, oh, they played such a good game of basketball. I mean, I hope they did. They're playing college ball, right? These aren't amateurs. Of course they played a good game of basketball and they lost.
Oh my God, and Bennie, to that point, I mean, these were the best of the best competing in the championship. So that simple point that you made is really a deep point. Of course they played good basketball, but you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, and that really is like the whole point though, is like you have two teams who both played a good game of basketball. One played a better game of basketball objectively. And they're traditionally supposed to be the ones that go to the White House and have like the whole visit and they get celebrated. But all of a sudden, that celebration becomes complicated and uncertain when you have the losing team that's more white, where it's like, oh, but they played a good game too. And it's like, yeah, they all played a good game of basketball. I'm sure that everybody playing college ball this year did a fantastic job for themselves. I don't really follow sports, but like at the end of the day, it is just this systematic privileging of certain perspectives. And while it may seem like a small thing, right, just like accolades in this one instance, fundamentally, this plays a role in courtrooms. This plays a role in the way legislation is drafted. This plays a role in like people's day-to-day lives, like in every component of people's daily lives. And so like, it may seem like, oh, just going to the White House, but at the end of the day, there's a plenty of people that we're not seeing that their fates are being decided by stuff like this.
That's it, Bennie. I mean, you did that. This is symbolic for a whole lot of other things that happens in our society, social, political, economic. That is it. And I love when you said the default perspective. That's it. That's it, and that's all. Bennie nailed that.